Hi, in this video I'm just going to talk about conditional formatting for Excel charts. So what do I mean by that? Well, Excel has a feature whereby you can select a range and apply what's called conditional formatting, and you can select out various cells based on certain conditions. In this particular spreadsheet I've got a color grade conditional formatting, and what that means is that as the values in a particular range change, then Excel applies a color in line with the values that are in that range. Low colors here are dark green, high colors here are a light yellow. And this data just represents information about how many kilowatt hours our solar panels are producing for each daylight hour, an attempt to sort of balance out during the year the efficiency of our solar panels. Now, what Excel doesn't provide easily, and you can see here in this chart, which is of the same data, a way of conditionally formatting your charts. So you can take any particular chart and you can click on the bars and you can format your data series. You can choose a whole range of things, including the colors over here, the fill color, and I can select a color to fill the whole thing up with, choose any color I like, and there you go, I've changed the color of the bars. What I can't do is go to conditional formatting. You can see here up in the menu bar that conditional formatting is grayed out. It's not something you can actually apply to the bars of a chart. So in order to get that, what you have to do is use a little bit of programming. So I've written a little program to do that. It's nice and simple. You should be able to follow along. If you've got any experience with VBA or macros, it's not too hard to see what's going on. So let's just bring up the actual program itself very quickly. Here it is. I'm just going to align all these things nicely like that. So the program is not even a page long. There's lots of white space in there. So let me just explain what it does. Let me show you what it does. I'm going to run this program, and after a couple of seconds you can see here that what it has done is applied a form of conditional formatting to the bars of the chart. And what I've done to do that is I've asked Excel to go into the chart as a program, pick out the values of individual bars, and use the heights of those bars to calculate a fraction of a color. So in this case I'm using the red, green, blue function inside Excel, and by comparing the height of a bar against the maximum value in a bar, I'm able to produce different shades for each of the bars in the chart. And my particular program does it for all three. It looks in the Excel spreadsheet for all of the charts, loops through all the charts, loops through all the bars, and assigns a color. So how have I done that? And it's not too difficult to see. I'll put this up on the website as well. Here I've just defined a whole set of variables that I'm going to use, and I'm using option explicit to make sure I can't use any variables in my code that aren't already declared at the top. And then I do in code what I've just said in words. I loop through all of the chart objects to find out how many there are. J was 1, 2. In this case there are 3 objects. I then ask VBA to find the chart, right? On the active sheet, chart object J is 1 to start with. Okay, so I set that up. Then I ask VBA to find me the X values, in this case the January, February, March, April values. And here those are represented by numbers between 1 and 12. So the maximum is the upper bound of those values, the minimum is the lower bound of those values. The next step is to get the Y values out. So I start off by declaring the Y maximum and minimum values. Okay, I'm going to change these as I loop through the chart. So here I go min to max, 1 to 12 in this particular case, and here the chart full series collection exposes the Y values of your bars. So I select each individual point, I ask it what is the value of that point, what number does it represent, and then I just see if it's a maximum or a minimum. Okay, and I work through that, and then I move on to the next point, next point, next point, next point, and I finish off with values for the maximum and minimum bar heights. I then just adjust this a little bit to make the maximum a little bit higher than the actual highest bar, just to protect me against the red, green, blue going white. Next step then is I'm going to go back through all of those points and I'm going to set the bar color. And to do that, what I've done is I've taken Y value and I'm going to create a base color, and that base color is the fraction of the current Y value divided by the maximum Y value, that gives me a fraction, multiplied by 255, which is the maximum value for your red, green, blue, and I've taken the integer value just to tidy that up a little bit. Then I just say take that point and select it. So you have to select the point before you can apply any formatting in VBA. So now that I've selected it, I fill it up, I make sure the fill is visible, and the for color in terms of RGB is RGB, and in this case I'm making the red component equal to whatever that base color value is. What is the value of that depending on its height? The other two you can play with as much as you like to get different shades, different colors. I've chosen 255 and 31, and they give me this nice range of green colors which matches the green scale for my numbers, more or less. You can change the tint and the shade. You can make it darker or brighter, and all the rest of it. You can make it slightly transparent if you want. You can see here this has got a little bit of transparency behind the scenes. You can see the horizontal bars there. And then my final step is just to add lines around the bars, and these lines are black, RGB 0, 0, 0, absence of color. And I finish off my program by allowing it to loop round to the next chart, loop round to the next chart, and then when all of those are finished, I drop my cursor back into A1 so that I know where to find it when I come back to my program. And that's about it. I've also added the possibility of updating that formatting. If you take a look into the Project Explorer, there is a feature inside Excel, inside each sheet. If I click on this, I can actually take my sheet, and whenever I make a change in my sheet, I can ask it to call the actual function that I've just created. So in this case, I've actually changed the name of that, so I'm just going to select that new name there, copy that back into this one, and make sure it's calling the right function. So now whenever I make a change to any of the numbers, then my program will change and allow me to update the charts in the sheet. Now there are lots of things you can do with that particular piece of code to improve it. Choose your own colors, make it select one chart rather than another, but I think with that you have enough to play around with and have some kind of conditional formatting inside your Excel chart. So I hope you found that useful. See you again in the next video. Take care.